By the time most people are in elementary school, they know the routine. You grab your plastic glove and put it on, get a sack, pick up all the recyclables that you can find on the grounds. Make sure that you have every chart color-coded of any trash you've used. Go home, tell your family anything that they use that can be recyclable, you need to recycle it. It's really important. They color code everything. Now, recycling is good, but mandates and laws don't make recycling what it needs to be. Oftentimes, the mandates that they have make it that so it doesn't work. And people don't realize that laws and mandates don't help recycling. First off, there's no market for recycling when there's mandates and rules for it. There's no economy for it. The Cato Institute's Schoenberg and Doyle say in their policy analysis, unfortunately, these measures neither conserve scarce resources nor help to protect the environment. They continue on saying, costly and intrusive bureaucracy needed to oversee mandate recycling was overwhelmed by unsolvable problems of the measurement of enforcement. But we understand, we don't want another Love Canal to happen. If you remember, in the 1920s, a huge chemical dump site came about, and they put all their chemicals in. Then in the 1950s, they covered it up with dirt, and they built houses, schools, basically their whole lives on top of this place. But then the chemicals started leaking, getting into the water, the air people breathed, and it made the people really sick. The U.S. Environmental Protection Agency said in their 1997 January journal, Love Canal is one of the most appalling environmental tragedies in American history. But that's not the most disturbing fact. What's even worse is that it cannot be regarded as an isolated event. It could happen again, anywhere in this country, unless we expeditiously prevent it. So how do we prevent another Love Canal from happening? Or is it even going to happen again? Well, author John Turney of the New York Times believes differently. He wrote an article, Recycling is Garbage, saying, it's not fair to compare modern municipal trash landfills with Love Canal, an old industrial dump with large, concentrated, and toxic chemicals that seep through the ground, where a school was stupidly built. Today's landfills for municipal trash are filled with mostly paper, yard waste, and construction debris. They contain small amounts of hazardous waste like lead and mercury, but studies have found that these poisons trapped inside masses of garbage, even in the old unlined dumps, were still trapped inside the mass of garbage, even in those dumps. While today they have strict standards with federal laws that must be lined with clay, plastic, equipped with drainage and gas systems, covered daily with soil, and monitored regularly for leaks. So maybe another Love Canal isn't in the future for us. But will our garbage bury us? We don't want to have so much garbage that America is a huge dump. Clark Wilson, an economist at Gonzaga University in Spokane, Washington, has calculated the long-term national garbage waste. If Americans keep generating garbage at a current rate for 1,000 years, and if their garbage is put into a landfill 100 yards deep, by the year 3000, this national garbage heap will fill a square piece of land 35 miles on each side. For the size of America, this doesn't seem like too big of a space. It seems simple. If we use less, then there's less garbage that goes into the heap. But this isn't necessarily the case. Daniel K. Benjamin explains it further in his 2003 edition of 8 Great Myths of Recycling. The reason is that our use of packing yields less waste and breakage and less total rubbish. For example, every 1,000 chickens brought to the market using modern processing and packing, approximately 17 pounds of packaging are used and thus disposed of. but at least 2,000 pounds of waste byproducts recycling into the markets, like pet food. Because the processing takes place in a commercial facility rather than in a home, most of these byproducts end up in landfills if packing did not make commercial processing cost effective. So you can see that packing is helpful. It produces less rubbish and thus less goes into the landfill. But there's another problem. We need to impose the law. Schulenberg and Doyle's policy analysis in the Cato Institute said another serious difficulty for these concerned with obtaining accurate estimates of recycling is enforcing the law. The Mandatory Recycling Act legislated a tax of $1.50 per person for every ton of landfill of solid waste. To collect the tax, counties must intercept, weigh, and tax shipments before they reach the landfill. So for them to take the time, energy, and money to have to weigh all that is a huge challenge. While it feels good to think we're recycling and to help the earth, oftentimes it's a misunderstood cause. It's important to remember that, as Doug Barlow says in the 1997 article for the Cato Institute, recycling, though sometimes beneficial, all too often wastes resources. The challenge is to put the same amount of time, energy, and resources that you put into recycling into also investigating and broadcasting the truth. Thank you.
6:44.